Hey, what's going on YouTube? I'm Blaze, and this is a Luke ability guide for Battlefront 2. In this guide I won't be going too far into depth with star cards, however I will be looking intensely at the abilities and combos vital to dominating with Luke on the battlefront. First up, we have Luke's Force Push. This is a very basic ability. You activate the ability and Luke performs a short animation. All enemies in a cone in front of him take damage and are knocked back. This deals 150 damage to infantry, one-shotting all the regular infantry apart from heavy, which is amazing. Only deals 90 damage to heroes though, which is still quite a bit, but not that great. When you activate the ability mid-air, Luke will jump higher, which is actually a kind of hidden use, which is really useful for getting to places where you wouldn't otherwise be able to reach. Getting to Boba Fett, for example, is quite good. Also, as I said, when you activate the ability mid-air, yes, you can activate it mid-air. It's a great way to keep moving and avoid being shot. It does have a long enough animation where you don't want to be using it in someone's face, especially if you're on low health, but most of the time you should be good. It's a bit hard because it pushes the enemies so far back to use it in the open, unless of course it's an officer, a specialist, or an assault. So I try and use it when I can point myself to the enemies going off ledges or into walls. Next up, we have Luke's Force Repulse, and this, like the Force Push, knocks over enemies in an area. However, this time it's around Luke, and it takes a very long animation. Not only that, but it doesn't one-shot infantry, dealing only 130 damage. The upside is, however, it deals 160 damage to heroes, which, if you think about it, is quite a lot, compared to the 90 of the Force Push. Not only that, but this Force Repulse can be upgraded with the Epicenter star card, which allows him to deal bonus damage with enemies within half the radius. This is also really good because it allows Luke to one-shot infantry, which means, no longer slashing them down whilst they're on the ground. The difficulty with this ability, however, is that it takes a very long time to pull off with a very long animation, which means that you can't be being shot whilst this is happening, or you'll lose a ton of health, which is why I like to use it when I'm behind enemies, when I've dashed past them, for example, or when they're down on the ground already. Apart from that, try to avoid this ability unless you're going off against a saber hero who can't shoot you, obviously. Lastly, we have Luke's Dash, pretty simple ability. Like Yoda's and Maul's, I would put it as the worst of the three, however, because it takes quite a long time to pull off. However, it does give you a speed boost after you've used it, so it's very good for getting away. It has 2 charges, can be upgraded to 3. It's worth having the 3 charges if you're planning on running away. However, Luke's got a really good selection of cards, so maybe you want to choose something else. Obviously, the drive-by, the dash forward, turn around, dash back still applies here, deals 200 damage, going to kill any infantry class, and it's especially good for taking out a group of them, even with the slow speed of Luke's dash. Now we come to the best bit of the video, which is the combos you want to be using. So first off, we have the Force Push, then Force Repulse. This is basically for any high health target, especially heroes, because once you Force Push them, they're down the ground, they can't shoot you or block if they're a lightsaber hero, and you can pull off the Force Repulse safely and deal 160 damage if they're a hero. Then we have the Dash, then Force Push, so this is usually dashing past a blocking hero or into a group of enemies and then pushing them away into a wall or something. That's also really good. Also, you can Force Push, then dash to get to them because you're going to be moving slightly faster, but that's pretty much generic, doesn't really count as a combo. Then obviously the Dash Force Repulse. If you're going to do this, make sure you don't end up in the middle of a group of enemies, but well behind them. This is best against, Vader when he's blocking, you can dash past him. Force Repulse, you don't have to turn around to push him or slash him in the back or anything. And obviously, Force Repulse, then dash and dash again is a quick way to get 200 damage off whilst moving. And finally, and obviously, we have the double dash combo, where you dash and then you dash back. Oh, and did I forget to mention, you can Force Push, dash, Force Repulse, and then dash into them again, and if you've got a third dash, you can dash again to total your damage up to 480 in a matter of seconds whilst you're on the move. Last and certainly not least, we have the general strategy you want to be applying to Luke. Now, to start off with, we have to cover his health regen margin, and his health regen time. Luke has 700 health, and when he loses enough health, he can regen up to 200. However, here's the important bit. He only takes 2 seconds to start regenning his health, which is insane for any hero we have on the battlefront. This means you want to be using Luke to his maximum potential by a hit and run style. This means you run around, you slash someone, you move on, you regen your health, and your stamina also goes down just as fast. The force push works extremely well with this, where you can jump, force push, staying on the move, regenning your health, and you're all good to go. Luke plays a heavy striker as well with his dashes, and his force repulse allows him to disrupt the enemy backline. You want to be keeping this in mind when you play Luke, and hopefully dominating the battlefront. Hey guys, that's the end of the video. Like if you enjoyed. Remember, this is still a small channel, so all support will be greatly appreciated. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this video, whether you want me to do a Luke star card guide, or what other heroes maybe you want me to do. I'll be coming out with a Vader guide soon, so if you're interested, do subscribe. Remember, it doesn't cost you anything.